I'll take it from here. Okay, guys. So there we go. It feels nice to be able to actually access a laptop and look at TradingView again. So I've just been looking at Bybit, Mexi, like 3 minutes a day when I actually get a signal. But yeah, okay. So I mean, before we get started, how have you all been? You all been good? Nothing much has been happening in the market. We've just been going sideways. Pretty boring, actually. Are you referring to what's happening with the yeah, I have no idea what's going on there, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'm as shocked as everyone else is, really, because last I talked to John, everything was fine. Well, we had about 20 positions open in the fund, is what John was telling me, and he was sharing those in the fund as well. So I honestly I have no idea how we could have gone from that to the message you put out. Yeah. I sent him a message saying, firstly, of course, recuperate your strength after a heart attack, of course. But yeah, the actual members need to be made aware what was this glitch, and I think just for the members, I think he needs to release the actual. The way I see it, he needs to release the transaction hashes firstly, like a screen recording of opening the actual Bybit account and firstly showing us all the transactions, just to show there's nothing going out, right, for transparency's sake, and also the actual losses, because if we are, if for some reason the automation did take 90% of the fund out, that's obviously going to show up in the Bybit accounts. This is CCE, bro. So, yeah, there needs to be full transparency here from John. I'm not trying to. I've kept quiet because I don't know what's going on, right? I don't have any of my personal money in the fund. Like I said, the only person I trust to manage my money is myself. I'm never going to put it on anyone else's hands. But yeah, I'm extremely shocked, especially because I definitely wasn't made aware that the entire fund was running on automation. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a bit sketchy, the message. So yeah, John needs to. I think the best way forward is, first and foremost, screen recording. Go to the transaction section in the Bybit, all the different accounts, however many there may be, and actually show the money in versus the money out, right? Because if there's suspicious outs, we can match that up. We can pair it up with, okay, was this a payout or is this like siphoning money away from the fund, so on and so forth, right? We can clear that up. And secondly, the actual P&Ls. If the automation took out 90% of the fund, then obviously that's going to show up in the Bybit page. It takes like 5 seconds to even release a screenshot of that. So the fact it's not been released yet for me is a bit concerning. It's up right, bro. How you doing? Hey, Cosmic, bro. So welcome in, guys. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my trip's lovely, bro. It's amazing. I got a bit sunburnt, actually really, really sunburnt. I think I got like near enough severe stage 2 on my shoulders. And this is because I was a retard when I went to the water. I was in the water for the whole day, basically. I didn't put any sun cream on. But apart from that, it's fine. So basically, Cosmic, there's a fund, like a hedge fund, like a crypto hedge fund, not like a full proper established hedge fund, but like a hedge fund sort of thing. And there's a few people in this server here who are in it, and basically the owner of the fund, he put out a message this morning saying 90% got wiped out because of automation. There was a glitch in the software apparently, and then that led him to have a heart attack, and he was MIA for a bit, and then he came back the other day saying like he had a heart attack. So yeah, it's just I'm just waiting for the dust to settle. Like maybe John will come back, and he will actually release all the things that needs to be released. If so, then of course that's all good, right? But if not, then yeah, it's fucked. Yeah, it's no joke, especially because even though right now it's September, yeah, it's still tough. Exactly, yeah. Which is also why when I open my hedge fund, I'm doing it so properly. Like that's why I'm not rushing this whatsoever. I'm literally just gonna be trading my own money until like 2030. I don't even care about getting investors on board straight away. I want proven track record before I even begin taking pitch decks forward. And I'm definitely not going to be bringing any sort of automation, especially like just untested automation with other people's money, man. It's got to be manual. I honestly don't get what happened here. I don't. So yeah, hopefully John recuperates his strength and we get clarity. That's all we can say really. I didn't know the whole fund runs on the algo, to be honest, bro. I thought it was manual positions and stuff. That was my whole role in everything, is to give advice like, okay, this looks good. I'd enter like this. My validation would be this. Like, we'd have weekly calls, and that's all I'd be doing with him. I'd be telling John, this looks good. This looks good. This would be how I enter. This would be my reason for entering. This would be my validation. What's the point in even having that if everything's going to be automated? All right. Yeah. No, it was so. What me, Neil, Rai, etc. What we do is, we give calls, and then ultimately the fund owner, who's John, decides which calls to take. Right. So I'd have at a minimum 1 week. Let's say like around a weekly slash by 2 times, or I suppose a fourth week, like every 2 weeks basically minimum. I'd have a call with John, and I'd go over, okay, this looks good. This looks good. Um, if I was to enter here, I'd enter like this. My invalidation would be this. That's what I'd say to him with all the different charts that I thought looked good, right? And then it'd be John ultimately who decided, okay, I'm going to enter this much of the fund into this much of the fund into this. And he could be taking it according to the way I do it. He could be taking it according to the way Rai would do it, according to the way Neil would do it, so on and so forth. None of us have access to the Bybit accounts. We're not there physically opening the positions. That's the way I see it anyway. But at least I don't, right? I don't know if anyone else does. Maybe there's an NDA other people have signed where they do have access. I don't know. But I definitely don't, right? And I don't think Ryu does either. So we don't have access to any of the actual money. Yeah. The only person with access to the actual Bybit account is the owner of the fund, who's John, right? CCE. So which is why I'm saying the thing that needs to be done first is a screen recording of him going through the Bybit account where all the money was for the fund was put, and showing firstly money out, the actual transactions, or crypto in, crypto out, the withdrawals, showing the withdrawals, and also the actual P&Ls. Because if the automation cocked 90%, then it's going to show in the P&Ls, right? It literally takes 5 seconds. The fact it's not been done is what's concerning. Because you have a whole community that's lost money. That'd be the first thing you do. Show, because he said, okay, the automation glitched out and 90% was lost. He said it, but there's no proof, right? So yeah, that's it. So until there's clarity, like I can understand why people are calling it a rock, because it's not been handled well right now. It's a bit unfortunate, of course, because of the heart attack, right? Um, but of course, people are going to begin questioning that as well, right? It's just one of those things. It's like, because once things get sour, of course, people are going to start pointing fingers. They're going to question everything, right? Did you really have a heart attack? Are you faking it? So on and so forth. And it's just tough for everyone. So yeah, that was what he said. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like these are valid things. These are things that should be provided, because you're controlling more than 1 million of other people's money. Like if you had Like, you know, if you're in this position, and I'm not saying this to put blame on John, I'm saying this because right now I'm deciding to, like, you know, trust him, like give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So if you want people to not be pointing fingers, the easiest thing you can do is just be like, okay, look, here's my receipt, here's the actual, here's the actual, you know, receipt of my hospital stay, here's the actual receipt of the funds being lost. If you do that, no one's gonna blame you. Everyone knows the risks of trading, right? But not providing that, just your word is nowhere near enough. When you say 90, that's basically you're saying 900K's been lost, right? It's, yeah, it doesn't, especially considering last I talked to him, we were all okay, we were in the green, he said it was fine, and it's not even been a month since then. So I don't know, when the market's just been going sideways, I don't know how we could have gone minus 900K. I just I don't know how it could have happened. Yeah, that's it, bro. But yeah, hopefully he pulls through and actually, you know, and everything ends up fine, because I don't see why he would rug. I don't see why. Right. But yeah, it's what it is. We're just gonna have to wait for more clarity on the matter. But it's, yeah, it's just, it's the fact that it takes 5 seconds, right? It takes 5 to 10 seconds to clear everything up. Okay, here's my receipt of my stay, um, and here is the Bybit, like, screenshot or recording of, you know, like the funds being lost. That's all people want. People have already, you know, people have already heard that the money's been lost. That's not what they're bothered about. Some people, sure, but the main problem is, are the funds truly lost because of a software glitch, or, like, you know, have you taken the money and run off somewhere? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that needs to be cleared up straight away. Yeah, I know, bro. That must suck, man. Yeah, it's nothing you can't make back though, bro. At least it was only 5 fix. All right. Yeah, a good trip to Arsenal at least is 5 fix already on its own. But yeah, I'll do a stream in, I'll do a stream in CC as well. Maybe tomorrow, maybe day after, um, because I feel like people are just in the dark right now. Yeah, the helicopter tour will be worth it. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, enough of the fun talk. That's what I would say, guys. The best thing you can do for yourself: never ever put your faith in someone else when it comes to your own money, right? Unless they are licensed, unless there is, you know, even like the element of trust was always there here, right? You can see, even if there is trust, doesn't always end up working out in people's favors. So, best thing you can do is just learn to manage your money yourself, right? Oracle, we look at some stocks, yeah. So what we'll do is, let's begin by looking at the macros, right? The macro charts, and after that, I look at Bitcoin. We look at ETH, a few alts. We look at some stocks as well. Let's just make it like a big thing. Um, Back in Bangkok for a few days, so I'll do that today. I'll do a stream at CC maybe tomorrow or day after, because I don't know if I'm going to be away for another night tomorrow evening. Um, right. Anyway, the recording is still going. Yeah. Okay. So let me go here, and we'll start with the macro charts, right? You're literally still going sideways. We've got the retest we were talking about. I mean, that was happening just before I left anyway. Got the smiley face right here, which is what we were saying. If you got the smiley, that'd be a nice addition to the move back up. Got the smiley. That's the inverse head and shoulders right there, actually. Very nice one. If you get that retest, your measured move pretty much is going to take you, by the looks of things, back towards 120 basically. So that's easily spottable there. So even if you get like a flash dump tomorrow, or is it later today? That FOMC meeting is today, isn't it? Yeah, FOMC is today, yeah. Even if it gives us some sort of flash dump, as long as we can hold these levels, Bitcoin's just going to range, in my opinion. I think it'd be so funny if we just kept rallying till December, because there's so many market callers, top callers, right? Nothing's changed. So many market callers. BTC's just been going sideways. We've just been going sideways. We've not turned distributive yet. Right, we haven't. Well, we look at the weekly. That's just another high low that's been put in for now, right? We've not turned distributive yet. If we start getting like massive, very clear SFPs, rejections, signs of lower highs around some of these key levels, then sure, perhaps, right? But nothing like that's happening yet. Monthly close in 13 days. This monthly candle for now looks good. So this is just I think it's going to end up being a nothing burger, just like usual, right? If we get a 25 basis point rate cut, I think we get a pump, but it's not going to be enough fuel to keep us pumping. In my opinion, there's going to be chop. If for some reason the Fed gives off panicky vibes and goes straight for the 0.5 basis rate cuts, I think we send this up towards hopefully 130s plus, right? 140s, even maybe 150s, who knows? If we get no rate cuts, that's going to be absolutely terrible. That's going to be insanely. I'm talking, we're probably going to get some giga red capitulation candles if we get 0 rate cuts before things stabilize again. In which case, I would honestly expect retest. If we get 0 rate cuts, I will not be surprised if we hit like 101, back down towards like, I don't even know. First line in the sun. Let's talk about 101, 369. Okay. So let's see what Jerome Powell decides to do. Right. Hopefully it's a 0.5. That'd be the funniest thing. All the sideliners, all the market callers absolutely get melted off. If a 0.5 basis rate cut comes in, we are flying. That much liquidity being injected into the market's going to send everything. So I think it'd be really, really comical if that happens. Because I feel like most people, if you look at the sentiment, right, online, on Twitter, if you look at the sentiment on, just like, your like, top crypto influencers, your YouTube videos from most people, right? Majority of the people are still thinking along the lines of either defensive, which is all right, right? Or straight up just bearish, right? Many people aren't bullish. They aren't. You can just tell, like, so many people are still sidelined, right? And looking at many of these charts, it makes me think, why would you nuke it lower? Right? If I was the market maker, would I want prices to go lower from here? Would it be easier for me to just send it up and run all the stops of the non-believers, of the short side, right? Just keep sending price higher, make people firmer back in, and then chop them out. Because I'd be going for the latter, right? But of course, I'm not the sole market maker of a particular crypto or anything like this. So what I think doesn't really matter. Whatever the big money does, they'll do, right? But at the end of the day, in terms of the weekly structure, in terms of the 2-week structure, we look absolutely fine. That's a breakout. That's a retest. On the 2 weeks, you've retested the parallel channel. You haven't done so on the lower time frames like the daily, but you have retested the area we said needs to be retested, which is that 6 month, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Right there, seller zone, right? So the previous biannual close of 2025, that's already occurred. You retested it, held it as support, above it. So the higher time frame level you need to be above, you're above right now. Could this be a lower high in the making, double top? Who knows? Who cares? I don't know, right? But the only thing that matters now is what kind of data is going to come out of the FOMC meeting. And fingers crossed, I really, really hope for a 0.5. I know it's probably not going to happen, right? Because a 0.5 would make the Fed look really, really panicky, would make them look like I have no idea what's going on, and now I'm way too late. I'm going to try and put a band-aid on this leaking dam kind of scenario. But it could still come. Who knows, right? So let's keep it. But chances are it's probably going to be a 0.25. But we'll see. again, what we don't want is no rate cuts, right? That's what we don't want. Pretty stacked stream today. 3 cuts would be crazy this year, yeah. 1 hour 15 minutes from now. 0 rate cut. Imagine just no rate cuts for the end of the year, until the end of the year. Honestly, like, that'd be absolutely diabolical. But yeah. So anyway, let's begin with the master list. Okay. So Dixie, we just want this to keep crashing, and I have this, so we'll go to a cleaner chart. Dixie here, still at the bottom of the channel. Not lost the bottom of the channel yet. That's the scary part, right? Not lost the bottom of the channel yet, but we are below that all important 382, right? And again, I'm just thinking of this in terms of the framework of the wave structure that's been presented to us so very clearly. By the end of the day, the wave structure that we've got is a deep godly, right? A godly / a deep godly. We have the 618 to the 886 almost, right? Just about got front trend, clear top of the 786, clear rejection of the 786 once again to confirm that it is also a significant level. Clear rejection of the mid of your 2022 yearly seller zone, right? So we have this multi-year, right? Multi-year wave structure in progress from 2001, right? X, A, B, C, D. We have hit type 1. So what we want is just to move down to type 2 and beyond. We do not want to mess around here, because if it stays going sideways for too long, then if buyers manage to shore up here and chart starts looking good, then we can always make an argument for a type 2 return, right? And that is something we don't want, because again, so far, every single cycle for a parabolic blow-off toppy, whatever you want to call it, for the banana zone in terms of alt season, you've always had the backdrop of a bearish Dixie, right? So until proven otherwise, that is the thesis I'm going to be sticking with. We want to see Dixie breaking down further and going lower. Okay, that doesn't mean you want to see Dixie bearish all the time, right? Once you start hitting these key levels and you see this starting to form support, starting to look bullish, then you know that's going to be one of the major triggers you're looking for to actually take some profits, right? Because a strong dollar is not going to be good for risk on assets, right? We already know the inverse correlation. We know the relationship. A strong dollar is not going to be good for risk on assets. So we want the Dixie to be weak for as long as we want the market to be green. Okay. Again, it's not a one-to-one relationship. Remember, the Dixie is all-encompassing, right? It is not like you're looking at the USDT, USDT dominance chart or anything like this. But as on a whole, right? As a whole, you still want the backdrop of a bearish Dixie for as long as you want, your alts to be going to the upside, as long as you want the backdrop for alt season, basically, right? So as long as you're below 97.939 for now, since that is a line in the sand for us, all is well. And this will look even better if you ever break down and start doing something like this, right? That would look absolutely amazing. USDT dominance, it's good, grinding sideways at support, right? At support clearly right now, very, very clearly at support. In fact, let's just look at this chart here. I want to know why my laptop is so laggy today. This does not feel like 100 and something FPS. This looks extremely, extremely laggy. I'll have to check it out later. But if we go to USDT dominance, we're still above the red line, and that is something we know we need to be below, right? This is the last, let's say, instance of historic diagonal confluence that you have in terms of demand and supply, right? There is extremely clear demand coming in for USDT dominance over there, which is the exact reason why you did not break down over here, even though this is the line of best fit, right? The blue zone, and we've been talking about this since forever, right? Every time we've broken below this, I've always gave the warning, there is one more thing we absolutely need to do, and until that's done, it's going to be noise, it's going to be chop. That is breaking down from the actual red line itself. We haven't broken down from the actual red line yet, right? Anytime you hit this, we can see you keep bouncing to the upside. So again, for the backdrop of absolutely crazy parabolic hold season, you want USDT dominance to be breaking down from this historic diagonal that it has not managed to break down from in history yet. We need that broken. And again, just look, even since the last time we looked at this, which would have been basically end of August, nothing's really happened. Right, so we talked about end of August, how since we have this SFP here that's clearly showing support, we could get a move back up towards the blue box / red box area, right? We got that basically the first week of September, and we're talking about how we want that as a rejection, right? First step rejection, and then second step is actually let's go ahead and lose the red line. So the first step's been done, right? It's not been an exact tap of the blue box, but the general area is very clearly resistance for now. So again, what the next candle is going to be is entirely dependent on, are we going to get the cuts? Are they going to say no cuts? What are they going to do basically, right? No cuts, expect a massive green candle, right? The 0.5 cut, expect all of these to get taken out, in my opinion. Probably a move down towards 2022, a 12-month macro read bar zone low, right? If we get a 0.5 rate cut, probably we're going to start seeing candles moving down like that very, very soon, right? 0.25, probably like, some sort of drop down again, some sort of move back up again, a bit more chop before like a clearer direction is set, right? That's the three scenarios we're looking at. But again, as long as we are not above this area, we are below the actual key, support resistance, right? And even now, as we speak, below the 6-month seller zone low, below the 2024 12-month macro read seller zone low. So, just one part at a time. Let's turn that to resistance properly first. Let's lose the red line. Once we do that, we can go and take out all of these liquidity to the left, basically, right? USDC dominance, again, at resistance, not really gone higher. Order block resistance right over here. We want this going down, right? I want that 886 to be tapped, which hasn't been done yet. For me, that would be a, market's about to, top out sort of vibes is going to be when, things like USDC dominance goes and completes the wave structure. And of course, we've already looked at USDT plus USDC dominance, right? This has also got a wave structure with an 886 on it. If that gets hit this cycle, then that is where I would expect markets to sort of basically be at you would probably topped out or probably very, very close to topping out sort of phase, right? I would want these macro wave structures to complete. I would be extremely ticked off if this did not hit, right? You spent since 2019 setting up such a beautiful structure. And of course, it's not complete. The structure is not complete until let's say the ratio is respected, right? So in this case, this structure is not complete until the 886 is hit. However, there's also like a pretense to it, right? And the pretense being that, okay, you've been doing this since 2019. Like, that's a really high time frame. Yes, we know this isn't complete until this is hit, but you also look at this as, okay, there's going to be market participants looking at this, looking at the 886, right? Understanding the fact we have a 414, a 768, understanding the fact we have a potential bat here. So if that doesn't get hit after all that, that's going to be extremely, extremely triggering for a lot of people, right? So for me, that for that very reason, once price gets here, the price action that develops here is going to be extremely significant in me figuring out, is the top in yet, or are we going to keep going a bit higher until, we eventually peter out and then the bear market rolls over and we probably get some sort of nasty drop, right? But again, this still remains a target for me. Again, it's not guaranteed because remember, the harmonic is only complete once the D point is hit. But this is just me front run it basically. I'm looking at this and thinking seems like the next appropriate step, right? Take out these lows, take out that support, go take out this, right? Go back towards these old highs, old support resistances, base out somewhere around there before going back up higher again. That just seems like a logical place for us to put in that significant price action read, right? So again, that's not changed either. And that's why it's like, there's going to be periods in the market where you don't have to do much. And this is it's just been that moment recently, right? Just look at every single thing. Look at Dixie, look at USDT dominance, look at USDC dominance. You don't even need to look at any charts. They have given you unvolatile candles. I don't know if unvolatile is a word, whatever the word is. There's been a lack of volatility. You've been trading within a tight range, right? Nothing significant has happened. Nothing major has happened. Look, you're just going up and down in the same range, right? So if you're scalping, and you're scalping the lows, you're scalping the highs, right, and taking the appropriate plays at those lows and highs with good RRs, then that's something that's giving you a steady source of income if you're doing it well. Otherwise, there's nothing else to be done in terms of swings, right? Like, that's the whole reason. No, I've not given many new plays either. It's like we're already in the plays we need to be in. The plays I'm in now are still the same plays we were in, right? Because these alts haven't moved yet. We're positioned, we're ready. All we need is the actual movement, and that's something no one can time perfectly, right? All we have to do is be prepared for it when we eventually think it comes at minimal risks to ourselves, right? Which is why nothing much has been done, right? Or rather, no new updates have been made regarding much positions, right? Because many coins aren't going up right now; they're just going sideways. That's just the phase of the market. Select coins are popping off. If something pops off and something does a major move and it's something so for example, Pump, right? Pump Fund, that was an entry given. That did an insane move up. That's something we could take profits on because that rallied, right? That rallied really, really hard because, of course, Pump Fund pivoted to the streaming, right? Genius move on their part, and that absolutely rallied the token to the upside, right? But unless there's a catalyst like that, a narrative for why a particular coin should pump, until liquidity is injected, many coins aren't going to do that, right? So now it's like, have you entered a tight up areas, and have you entered projects that actually showing signs of life? They still have a team behind them, they have a working product. As long as the answer is yes, all the boxes tick for you to have a potential swing play, right? And if you're swinging, all you do is enter and understand that the benefits of swing trading isn't catching the exact timing of when the low is and when the high is being in these positions with a good enough average to catch the bulk of the move. That's what I always say, right? And the areas we're right now are exactly that. It's areas where risk are easy to manage, but also, if we are right, we're entering at probably the best places available on many of these coins, right? If we are wrong, we're wrong with minimal losses. Whatever loss you set for yourself, whatever stop loss you set for yourself, you're wrong by only that amount, right? That's USDT dominance. USDT dominance, we looked at that. Now USDT plus USDC, we looked at that. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance next. Holding the diagonal. I think I've got a better chart for Bitcoin dominance over here. Yeah, very, very key area. Why are we bouncing? Massive cluster. Right over here. Right, you have 3 different yearly zones here. In fact, you take a look. Right there. Why have we bounced here? On Bitcoin dominance, we bounced because the 2018, 2019, and 2020 all have yearly implications at this particular area, right? Hence the SFP being a crucial one, right? So Bitcoin dominance is a very, very important cluster. You lose this, you see where we slide to, right? The next key level you have is 2019 low at 52%, right? So hopefully we do go and lose it because we want Bitcoin dominance to go down as Bitcoin's chopping, right? Now, Bitcoin dominance might have one more rally to the upside. I don't think it's going to absolutely die yet. I do think Bitcoin has one more push left. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't really care. Like, I'm not going to make much more money if Bitcoin goes up because there's very limited returns on Bitcoin now, right? Majority of my gains are now going to come from altcoins, right? But if Bitcoin goes to, let's say, 130K, it doesn't necessarily mean Bitcoin dominance has to put in a new high, right? But let's say Bitcoin does have one more push up, puts in a fresh high. Bitcoin dominance could do the same, or it could go in, put like a macro lower high in, maybe take out this order block, take out this supply zone in terms of the liquidity pocket, and then roll over for a big, big drop as alts really, really gain momentum. Something like that could happen, or who knows, maybe we just die, right? Maybe. But the fact of the matter is, remember, if Bitcoin dominance is support, and you have to choose something to trade, you're going to choose Bitcoin. Or rather, if you had to choose something to long, something to short, you're not going to be shorting Bitcoin and longing alts when Bitcoin dominance is support, right? Realistically speaking. When Bitcoin dominance is support, if the support holds and price respects the support holding and goes back to the upside, what is that signifying? That is signifying that, okay, there's a percentage increase in this chart, meaning Bitcoin dominance is increasing, right? So if Bitcoin dominance is increasing, you don't want to be short the asset of which dominance it is that is increasing, right? You want to be long Bitcoin as long as Bitcoin dominance is support. And by extension, if there's a particular coin that looks weak against the BTC pair, you want to be short on that. right? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to short a alt just because Bitcoin dominance is support. At the end of the day, alts can go up as well. But the key thing here is Bitcoin is probably going to outperform, right? Many alts. So if Bitcoin dominance is support, it's a long. If Bitcoin dominance is resistance, it's a short, right? So right here, you would not be thinking about shorting Bitcoin. Not yet. Not until Bitcoin dominance lost this, right? But Bitcoin dominance on a whole is going to be approaching areas of macro support. Even in terms of diagonals, you can probably see that, right? Right there. There you go. So this is not a place to be blindly shorting, okay? Because if it does, again, bounce from here, that's just increasing. That's just showing an increase in the amounts of liquidity locked in Bitcoin as a whole, right, as a piece of the pie. So keep an eye on this one. If you see this, then that's going to be a drop in Bitcoin. And if that is backed up, a Bitcoin dominance dropping like that is backed up by Bitcoin going sideways, also going to absolutely run. That's what we're looking for. Okay, just no idea when it's going to happen. I feel like from this particular area, I would not be surprised whatsoever if, especially, I'm guessing, I am absolutely just a wild guess here, but I'm going to go and see, is that lower low, sorry, met with a higher low in your oscillator indicators? Yes, it is, right? Off based on the fact that we had daily bullish divergence on the class A. I would not be surprised if this does now decide to go up, take maybe some of these out, put under the macro lower high in, and then perhaps that's when we get the alts really going, right? Like, it makes sense for that to happen because look where we are. That's the point I'm trying to make here. But Bitcoin dominance at key support. This is not an area where you would blindly short Bitcoin, basically. Okay, don't expect Bitcoin to be weak, basically, when this is holding a support. This is where strength would likely come in on Bitcoin. Ethereum dominance, on the other hand, it doesn't look weak at all. It looks fine. Like, you know, maybe it comes back down to 12.84, 12.2. But again, it's like the trend is reversed, right? We're just looking for another higher low to come in now, wherever that may be. That's all that matters. Whenever the actual structure for a higher low comes in, and if it comes in at an actionable area, this is not an actionable area, right? So even if a high low came in here and we went off, I would not be surprised if we didn't take a trade off this, because this is not an actionable area. But if the price action comes in at an actionable area, right, and the signs of high lows are coming in, again, at an actionable area where you can manage risk, where you know is significant, right, in relation to both the chart and in relation to whatever system you're using, that's where you'll be looking for that high low structure to form. And that's where you'd be expecting, okay, well, this looks like Ethereum's ready to catch another rotation again, right? But ETH dominance, people are going to, again, you know, once something stops ripping every week, people are going to slowly, like, just forget about it. Same with Ethereum, right? If Ethereum starts going sideways for a few more weeks, there's going to be less and less people thinking about it. But the fact of the matter is, if Ethereum dominance looks like this, another high low is put in, eventually ETH will catch that rotation again, and it will probably have that, you know, move up to actual all-time highs plus, right? So that's something to watch for as well. So both the dominances, and of course, you also look at the BTC pairs and the ETH pairs, right, in relation to these dominances to really get the full picture. Now, we have Bitcoin dominance plus stablecoin dominance. So remember, for those of you that have not seen this before, although everyone should have seen this, everyone here has got access to the sessions. This is basically a something to look at to get a gauge for altcoin strength, right? Because again, remember, what did we want for alt season? We want Bitcoin dominance dropping, and we want stablecoin dominance dropping. Those are the two things we absolutely want, right? Because stablecoin dropping is going to be bullish for crypto as a whole, and Bitcoin dominance dropping on its own is not going to be bullish, right? But if Bitcoin dominance is dropping and stablecoin dominance is dropping, then realistically two things are happening. Either crypto as a whole is dying and people are flocking out crypto, no stablecoins, nothing, give me dollars, or the more likely scenario is people are flocking out Bitcoin and also our dollars, i.e. they're going to be spending their monies on things that are not Bitcoin and not dollars, i.e. altcoins, right? So this is a very, very good gauge of altcoin strength. And again, saying that, look what we've done, we've hit the 886. That is a, this right here is a bat, right? We've hit a bat, and we've had a reaction of it. We've had various divergences at the top of the bat. We've had a structure change. So again, if this decides it wants to come up to create another lower high, so be it. But we're looking for that downtrend to continue, right? Lower highs and lower lows is what we're after now on this. Eventually, we're looking for 61.75%. We're looking for 54.63%, maybe even lower, right? But that is Bitcoin dominance plus stablecoin dominance. Again, still looks fine. Fine in the sense that it's in a downtrend, right? Is now again approaching areas of support, and again I'll just draw a very very brief something and something other right there. There's your area of support. It's very clearly approaching an area of support, so we can't be surprised if again we see a bounce here, but we would expect that bounce to yield further weakness here, right? Until this 86 is gone and flipped into support now, we expect that bounce to sort of take us lower. Maybe give us a lower high, give us a type 2, but ultimately send us lower, right? That is what you want to see. Now, total, still grinding to the upside. Like I said, wouldn't be surprised if you got a retest of this into support. We got the retest of the set levels into support. The same areas we're always looking at, right? 3.72 trillion, 3.63 trillion, back up towards the ABCD 2.24. It's the same key levels, right? Same key levels. You're just ranging. You're just ranging right now. Again, you are now at resistance for total 1, right? Very clear resistance. You have the ABCD 2.24 here. You have an order block here, right? The order block has been hit. So until this gets flipped to support, I would be hesitant to add. If you're looking at just total, like if you were to look at this as a chart, I'd be very hesitant to add here, right? Until this got flipped, just because you're next to such insane resistance, basically, at price discovery. But should you start showing signs of strength and you get flipped down to support, so on and so forth, you're thinking to yourself, 4.23 is going to come eventually. And of course, 4.42, 4.47, 4.69, so on and so forth, right? These are all going to be targets that's going to hit one after the other until someone physically stops the melt up that the markets are going to experience. So total 1, like I said, at support, as long as it holds, there's nothing to worry about. Even if this had been lost, remember, you were fine, because as long as you had retested this breakout successfully, right, and that retest had been successful, chances are you probably would have gone up, reclaimed, and then sent it higher, right? But they haven't even given the retest yet. All they've given the retest of is the actual horizontal, not the diagonals, right? Total 2, going sideways at resistance, literally at resistance. If you take a look at this, rated all-time highs, however, yet to experience a huge sell-off based off that, right? Eventually, the first thing you did, you front-ran all-time highs, and we know why that happened. Again, there was a target here. Actually, was that for Ethereum? No, I'm thinking Ethereum. But we got a front run initially that gave us the retest of the 2021 12-month seller zone mid, and that retest held. We flipped the mid of what used to be a seller controlled area into support. Buyers are now showing strength in an area where sellers were in control, and that gave us that push up to the highs, right? This right now, of course, you want to see closes above now. No other two ways around it. You want to see closes above. But once we do that, 2 trillion, 2.11 trillion, 2.14 trillion, 3 targets. This is what I'm saying. I do not think ETH has topped out yet, right? Now, if this ends up being the top for total 2, then yes, ETH probably would have topped out, right? But I do not think this will be the top for total 2. Not a macro top anyway, right? This could be a local top before like some bearish news is released later, like no rate cuts, and then that could drop us, right? Who knows? But this does not feel like a macro top, especially pertaining to these wave structures on our screen, right? I feel like there's higher targets for us to go and hit at some point. Then there's total 3, absolutely amazing. Take a look at what it's doing. B point of that deep crab, right? Damn, one sec. B point of that deep crab, flip to support. Deep Garly 886, flip to support. This deep Garly right here, okay? That means that as long as you are above the 86, you're literally above this. The only next target you have in terms of that 618 is the 1.618. That's the crab 1.618, right? We also know there's another 1.618 lining up in this area around 1.47 trillion. So 1.46 to 1.47 trillion seems to be an extremely obvious target in terms of wave structures, right? In terms of wave structures, we would not be surprised if this is where we ended up topping up. Why price would gravitate or be attracted towards these points here. Total 3 looks absolutely amazing right now. It looks insane. Yes, you're S&Ping off highs for now again, right? You're at all-time highs, you're not above it yet, but again, we can't be surprised. This is literally the type of price action you get. This is the type of chart setups you get typically before some sort of pivotal news is released. And we know this FOMC is going to be pivotal because it's going to set the tone It's going to set the tone, right, for the remainder of this year. Are we going to get a rate cut or not? If they say no, that sets the tone. If they say yes, that sets the tone. If they say 0.5, that definitely sets the tone, right? So now we just wait for decision. That's why you're at all-time highs, tethering at the edge of a breakout or ASFP, right? The market is simply holding its breath to see what Mr. Jerome Powell is going to say later. Others, 618 below it, above local resistance. Again, this total 3 looks better for now, right? Which basically that this is telling you your high caps are probably going to go first, right? Because if total 3 runs to all-time highs, it's going to be the high caps mainly that's going to be driving it up. Because total 3 could run up while others sort of just again stays pretty stagnant without hitting new all-time highs, right? It's only once total 3 also looks like it's topped out where others probably goes and has this final blow off top sort of move up. So total 2/total 3 is what's going to be the things to keep an eye on. Eventually, you're going to see ETH hit all-time highs, right? Probably put new highs in. You're probably going to see things like Sol run, AVAX run, some of these high caps, SWE run, so on and so forth, right? XRP, Doge, whatever falls in the high caps, they're probably going to run. And after that, it's probably when others like the lower market cap coins are also going to go. But others looks out of all the ones we looked at so far, others looks the weakest, right? But that does not mean it looks weak as a whole. It just compared to everything else, this looks the weakest right now. It's in the middle of it's still got major resistance above it, nowhere near all-time highs. But that also means this still has the most room for growth, right? Which is why altcoins is where you hedge your bets if you're going to be taking risks. Now, total DeFi, same thing, T2 zone, below it, right? Simply telling you that if you want to get into DeFi projects, on a higher time frame, they look fine, right? As in total DeFi looks like it's going to grind up higher. The structure looks good, but on a lower time frame, not the best place to execute on DeFi projects right now. You're treating the yearly level as resistance right now, T2 zone as resistance. Maybe look for a lower time frame execution on your DeFi plays based off when total DeFi itself gives you a potential lower time frame entry, right? When you start flipping these, and then you can scalp to swing it, whatever you want to do, or just straight up swing, depending on where you are on the chart, on whatever DeFi coin you are looking at, right? Others against BTC, again, slowly grinding up. That's what we want to see. Last level high, the latter level low taken out, right? So again, as long as we now stay above 0.124505, I'd eventually expect this to start grinding to the upside, right? Again, we have a completed
Hey, how are you?
completed deep godly rights over here. 1 second. Somebody, who was that? Sorry. I don't know if someone was trying to talk to me or not. Oh, no problem. If someone was trying to ask a question, that's completely fine. But if it wasn't a actual question, then that's okay. Yeah, it's being recorded, brother. The quality might be a bit shit because I'm not using. I don't have access to proper Wi-Fi, but yeah, it's recorded. I would hate for a prolonged cycle. I would hate for it. But anyway, so that's others. What else is there? Total DeFi dominance. I don't really need to look at this right now, so I'm not really going to go over it. And others dominance, again below resistance. Whether we flip or not here is going to be dependent completely upon Mr. Powell. So as you can see, all of these macro charts we're looking at, all of them are telling you one thing, right? Well, there's your macro, story down if you want to do it. There's of course the fact that Dixie is still weak right now. However, something to be of concern is it hasn't yet lost the bottom of the channel, and this is the moment when most bulls are going to be euphoric, right? But this is also where people let their guard down the most, right? Remember, even if you're thinking in terms of just general advice in life, people tend to let their guards down the most when they think they are close to achieving something, achieving victory, so on and so forth, right? At this moment, this looks very bleak for the chart. Bulls are gonna be euphoric anywhere, it's gonna be here, right? But that also means this is where you are the most careful. This is where you really, really pay attention to what is going on, because if you're gonna, this is the moment where most people fuck it up. Right, nothing's happened here yet. In the sense that again, this channel, you haven't dropped from it. You want to see acceleration beyond this point. This is a completely valid downtrending channel. Okay, this is where you be very very careful for a given moment. Just because you are very very close to the finish line does not mean you ease off and take it easy and stop paying attention. Right. Fact of the matter is, something like this could easily happen. What the hell? Something like this could easily happen before we before we go lower, right? I'm not saying it's definitely going to, but the point I'm trying to make here is most people would get euphoric here, right? If you're bullish, and there's nothing wrong with being bullish right now. Like there's a reason to be bullish. Like everything looks good, right? But these are moments where you're probably going to let your guard down the most. And if you find yourself doing that, you need to consciously pull yourself back and stay just focused, right? No emotions, no thinking, oh, yeah, I have to be right. It looks so ready. Because it doesn't have, you're not owed anything by the market. If they decide I'm going to flip this back into support tomorrow, because based on whatever news comes out, guess what? This is probably going to rally back up to 103, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. Absolutely nothing. Right? And that will absolutely nuke our back. So you've got to be prepared for all of these scenarios now. Right? If they're going to mess it up for bulls at any given point, this would be the best point for them to mess it up for bulls. Because this is where bulls as a whole are going to be most euphoric. Right? I want you to think about things like that as well. It's sort of like I don't know how many of you do combat sports, right? But if you've ever been in a proper fight, in a proper in a proper tournament, whatever, right? The easiest moment for you to knock someone out, or the easiest moment for you to land points on someone, is when they think they've got you, right? You draw them in, you make them think you made a mistake, you draw them in, you lure them in to do a particular move, and when they think you've got you, that's the best opportunity you have to get a point on them or to get that counterattack off on them. It's sort of the same sort of principle I'm trying to apply here, right? But yeah, so that is the macros. There's nothing else apart from gold. Gold is, of course, ripping. So if we look at Bitcoin against gold real quick, total 3 against Bitcoin, you look at this. Reclaim would be amazing to send it higher. Where's Bitcoin against gold? It's at the mid. Nothing much to say here, actually. But that is all the macro charts. Do we have CME? Anything to worry about? Nope, not by the looks of things anyway. No, we're fine. In that case, that is the master list. So let me quickly check back to the chart. No problem, brother. It's alright. The medieval version of your mixed martial arts. Start pulling out the rapiers and the scimitars. Right. Okay, let's look at Bitcoin next then. We said we got the retest we're looking for, right? That's the retest we were looking for. The retest was successful. That was your 6 month, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that was your last biannual close for 2025. So when June closed, right, and July started, we had the 6 month data. This is the retest we've now got here, right? June. So all of July, June closed bullish, right? So July, August, September, and we finally got the retest in August, sorry. Yeah. Smiley face before you went higher. So again, if you wanted to execute, the execution signs were there. And now, of course, you also have the opportunity. You can go and look ahead, right? You can go and plot this out. You can also, for those of you that have looked through footprint charts, so on and so forth, you can also go and analyze this, what kind of price action came here in terms of aggressive versus passive buyers and sellers, right? One of the most powerful form of confluences you have. You also have the ability to now go and look at that, right? But the smiley face was there, and the smiley face is what sent us high. And of course, you do have that inverted head and shoulders here. And on the lower time frame, actually, the 4 hours, you got the retest. There's the retest that sent us higher, right? You're not always going to get the retest on the higher time frame. Sometimes, like, this is why I introduced the concept of time frame alignment to you guys so early on, because the daily retest did happen here, right? There you go. But it was clearer to see on the actual 4-hour chart, right? There was the retest. On the 1-hour chart, there was the retest right over there. So there was the retest of the neckline before it sent us higher. So this is a completely valid inverse head and shoulders in play right now. By the looks of things, the measurement has pretty much already been hit. So if we take it from here to basically there, actually no, it's nowhere near hit. What am I talking about? Yeah, 120k seems doable. If you can get above 117. How does this become invalidated? If you go and break below 113, obviously you lose the leg 9, it's done, right? But Bitcoin looks good. Look, again, nothing to do here. Rejected from resistance, already bounced off the neckline, middle of the range. Either you flip this for continuation or you next plays back towards 113. If that's lost, 111,982. Depending on what time frame you're looking at, you're going to prioritize different levels, right? What we have here now is what used to be a demand zone turn to resistance. So as long as you can reclaim it into support, you now have a bigger smiley face waiting to occur right over here, and that will take you even higher. You see these all over the place, remember, right? So there was your local smiley face, there's a bigger smiley face that could potentially form here, as you can see. So as long as that area between 113 and 111 holds, I'll be looking for higher prices on Bitcoin. Okay. But honestly, it looks good. You're just chopping sideways. Bitcoin loves to do this. Just chop while everyone loses their minds, and then once everyone's nice and worn out, it just all of a sudden crushes you over. This doesn't look bad at all right now. This can change very, very quick depending on the FOMC, but right now it looks fine. Right. I don't have much time, so let's just go over the majors today. I'll do another one where we go over alts, but let's do over the majors, and I'll also look at KTA because someone put it. No, I didn't, bro. I didn't vote for the leader. All of my family members were at the riots, though. My cousins, they were all at the riots. Send me some wild ass clips. I'll be going there soon. I need to look after my grandma, so I'll be in Nepal till mid-January next year, basically. So it's the Western media is framing it, right? The Western media is framing it as always because social media was banned, but it's not that. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Nepal as a whole is an extremely, extremely corrupt nation. In fact, in terms of the corruption scale, we rank one of the highest, right? And it's been decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades of the public suffering, of the general public suffering, and paying the prices for a select few who sort of are corrupt, who take in all the money, keep it for themselves, hoard it for themselves and their family members, right? So we've tried to change many times, and it's always the same results, right? Nothing ever changes, and in fact, over the last let's say 15 years or so, after that, basically after our royal family was massacred, right, and we shifted from a monarchy to a democratic sort of government, it's been the same parties, the same three parties that have been in power every single time. They literally rotate. They rotate between the same three parties for the last 15 years, right? Probably more than that now. And they're all so corrupt. Their kids are flexing there was a Christmas tree someone put up of just designer stacks while the nation's literally in poverty, right? It was there's so much corruption, basically, so much corruption. And so people were just trying to call that out. Or as social media's grown up, right, people now have a way for their voices to be heard. 10 years ago, even, we didn't have social media, right? So people have a way to get their voices heard and to also collectively voice their concerns and also see the discrepancy, right? You see all these nepotism, basically, right? This is also movement against nepotism. All these nepo babies, who living the good life, going to Harvard because their daddy could pay for it, and they're wearing designer every other week, like changing it like it's like Sheen clothes, while the nation can't even like eat, right? Doesn't even have power, electricity, no jobs, highest unemployment rates ever, right? It just doesn't bode well, obviously, right? Corruption never ends well. And then so obviously, as people are basically raising their voices against nepotism, right? They were saying this. They were doing this on social media. They were saying, we need to change. We're so corrupt, so on and so forth. And the government's genius idea to this was, instead of like trying to being like looking at it and saying, oh, perhaps we're in the wrong, was just to say, okay, we're going to ban social media. So they banned social media, and it wasn't an outright ban, right? Technically speaking, it was an outright ban. To be completely transparent, it was an outright ban. They basically, what they did was, they said, okay, no, everyone has to register in a different way. You have to sign these paperwork. You have to fill these. You have to put representatives with government and have a local address in Nepal if you want to do that. So Viber did that straight away. A few other platforms did that straight away, but the government only gave them a week to do so, right? And obviously, most people aren't even going to like realize that issue went out. So of course, after a week, all of the social media sites started going down. Instagram went, right? Facebook went, Messenger went, right? All the big ones, Snapchat went, everything went, right? And so, of course, this looks like the moment it's happening is, of course, the government's trying to like stifle the movement, right? They're trying to keep away from the backlash. They're trying to stop this nepo baby trend going on. They don't want people talking about this, raising concern. But what this did was, this instead, with the youth, right, the Gen Z, they got together, they started doing peaceful protests, right? They went to do peaceful protests, nothing crazy. There were no firebombs thrown. There were no, it's not like anyone was vandalizing public property, nothing like this. Just a peaceful protest, literally like, just Gen Z, like literally kids, bro, kids who just came from school, still had the school uniform on, right? Backpacks, like, we're talking 10-year-olds, right? 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, up to like, like 20-year-olds, so on and so forth, just collectively, right? Majority Gen Z, peaceful protest, the word peaceful, nothing crazy was going on. People would just gather in, like, just to talk about shit. And then the government didn't like that. And then they got the police involved, and the police basically started using extreme force for zero reason. Literally, just some corrupt ass official just gave the order, right? And then bullets were shot. Literally, there's, I've seen the pictures, the videos, like, 8-year-olds were shot in the head. Like, just a peaceful protest to just death, right? And then that is the collective, that's the spark, right? That's the spark. So even though the Western media is framing it as, oh, social media ban, that's the spark that lit the fires, right? So, that's was really, everyone just went nuts after that. Just went nuts. So the next day, after the next day, that's when the public got together and absolutely fucked shit up, bro. Absolutely crazy. Our parliament building burned down. Our attorney buildings burned down. General affairs burned down. Everything burned down. Anything to do with officials, right? Their properties, their houses burned down. Our finance minister was literally dragged out of his house, beaten in the streets, right? Drop kicked, thrown into the river. There was, of course, unfortunate casualties because of I forgot who it was. I think it was one of the like secretary of something. Like he was a pussy. He fled the scene, left his like wife in the house. Like they didn't even help her escape, nothing. So unfortunately, I think she passed away because while the protesters lit the fire in the house, not knowing she was still in there, because obviously they saw the official escape, so they're thinking, oh, the family's probably already gone. So there was some unfortunate casualties in the midst of all the frenzy. But it's the point is, this was not simply a social media ban and Gen Z losing their minds, right? This is decades and decades of corruption, and this is eventually what it is: power back to the people, right? Because it's as simple as when only a few are in power. I think it's very easy for people to think, oh, I can't do anything, but it's never an I situation. This is a very clear example of a we situation, right? It took 2 days for the entire government to be dismantled. And then it took another 2 days for a new elect to be put in, a new complete, for the military to come and enlist curfew, right? Settle things down, for a new government to be put in. And the Gen Zs were already in the streets, bro. They're cleaning up, right? Everything's done. So honestly, that's what should be done. Indonesia's following suit. South Africa's following suit. Everyone should. Anywhere that's corrupt, there should be a warning of what happens when you take it too far, right? But it was never about just social media, bro. That's what they're framing it as, because obviously you also don't want, the media's got to be careful, right? Because if you censor, no no media that's owned by any sort of rich person is going to sensationalize something like this, because no rich person who owns media wants, like, anyone else from any other countries to get this idea, right? Because if you're some poor kid from the Philippines and you see this and you're in the same exact shoes, you are probably going to get inspired to do the same shit, right? But of course, the rich people don't want that. So, of course, they're not going to cover it. They're just going to frame it as, oh, social media ban, this went down, so on and so forth. But it wasn't about that. The social media ban was simply the straw that broke the camel's back. This was all about corruption. But yeah, so I know I went a bit off tangent there, but I just wanted to explain it properly, because, people are framing it as a social media ban and people losing their minds over that. It really isn't. Just pure and utter, like, just discontent and just corrupt government. We just did what needs to be done, basically. But anyway, let me check out KTA. Hang on. Um, I believe I've got this on the. Where is it? Hang on. Oh, why would you? Why would you remove it? This had the most data. The Uniswap had the most data, and they just removed it. That's so annoying. Please, Blowfin, bro. It doesn't even have good data here. Yeah, that's terrible. There was so much better data. I don't know why it's removed. All right. I'm going to withhold doing TA on this for now, because I'll figure out a way to get the full picture back in. This is like half the data. If you look at Uniswap and stuff, it comes all the way from down here, right? Which completely changes everything. So I'll get this done in the next stream, because I'm not sure why this is not showing up for now. Blowfin. Yeah. Yeah, these ones had way more data. I don't know why it's not showing up. Very annoying. I mean, in terms of Blowfin, the key levels haven't changed, right? But in fact, one sec. Let's go to. Because we did have a 4-month close. Yeah, that was the last 4-month close. Bam. As long as we're above 0.8896, you're good. That's a very, very key level, as you can see, because that is your last triennial close, right? So last 4-month close we had May, June, July, August. When August closed, we got 0.8896 as a significant level. Below that, of course, we have this. There we go. Then if we go to the 3 months, it's the same as the 6. If we go to the 2 months, same as the 6. If we go to the monthly, that's where it's different. What used to be resistance, this will be a much cleaner chart than what we're looking at earlier. There we go. So we can see very, very clearly that the area we're right now is a significant one, right? We have your 4-month key level right here. So this was your previous 4-month close, right? We can see resistance and support as well. And we also have your original monthly seller zone mid, particularly in this area. So it's very evident what's going to happen. If you want to enter plays, you're going to do so exactly like this for now. Just keep it very, very simple. Because if you lose this without fail 99% of the time, you're going to go back down towards 73 cents. And if you overshoot that, it's going to be 62 to 61. Right? So right now, as long as you're above this, you can try and go for a play, something like this. If you want to make yourself a bit safer, something like this, right? It's completely up to you. However, should you basically go and actually get confirmation you've lost this area, then 73 cents would be extremely likely. After that, 62 to 61, right? So these would be the key levels I'd actually look for based on the bluefin chart for KTA. Okay, so let me look at ETH. We look at Sol. A couple stocks, and we'll call it a day for today. And then the next stream I'll go over alts again, just like we did last time. So honestly, who's complaining about ETH? Who is complaining? Timeline is crazy, but realistically, look, the people who are top last saying ETH is topped out, are off their nuts, bro. What are they talking about, right? I can't take anyone who says ETH is topped out seriously right now. Look at this chart and tell me ETH is topped out with chest. We know what we've done, right? Ethereum has gone and it has hit the 1.272, right? It's rated all-time highs, so we did put all-time highs in, and then it's once again turned the key inflection area back into resistance. That is inverted smiley, right there. Inverted smiley came in on the 13th of Sep. Inverted smiley right over there. But as long as we are above this, we are completely fine. Ethereum could decide, I'm going to drop down to 3,800 in 2 hours time. As long as we didn't close below it and then we started building structure at this area, it would be completely fine. It does not matter. As long as you're in this range, you are completely fine, right? When would you be worried about ETH? It's very, very simple. You'd be worried about ETH if you saw something like this. That's when you'd be worried about Ethereum. You saw distributed structure coming in at / below the mid of the key inflection area. That's where you'd be worried. As long as you're above this, there is absolutely nothing to worry about on Ethereum. As long as you're above this, look, there is nothing to worry about, right? We've got targets higher for ETH. Remember, we've got the 5,890, 5,500, 5,953, right? Based off the macro ABCD and then the butterfly 1.272, right? We've already hit that first one. And then if you get above that, we have the butterfly 1.414 at 6,519. These are targets I do think will hit for Ethereum. Enough said, right? That's it. Nothing, literally. You don't need to overcomplicate this. ETH is completely fine on a macro basis. On a lower time frame basis, yeah, you've rejected the key inflection area, you might drop down some more. Doesn't matter though. If you're scalping, like, you're not going to do anything here anyway. You either take the short at the key inflection area, or you look to long your next sort of, buy seller zone, historical price range, whatever you're looking at. You look to long the next area of support should you get the reaction you want there, right? But on a macro basis, to actually base theses off of, this is completely fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with ETH whatsoever over here. Not until we go and confirm this to be deviation. For now, this is not deviation. This is only confirmed deviation if we go and price action tells us this area is once again resistance. Only then can we say this is deviation, and we would once again target the lows if possible, right? In the same vein, ETH against BTC is still insanely strong, even though we haven't broken above properly the 2019-2020 levels yet. You also haven't had a drastic sell-off because of it. You've just been going sideways, right? I want I want some sort of big wick down, because if I get a chance to size up on ETH against BTC, I finally will. I'm still holding that ETH against BTC long for the challenge account, right? If I size up, we're going way past just 4 or 5k profits. We could be hitting 5-figure profits, right, from literally $10 position size initially. So, you know, if I get opportunity to size up, I will. But I'm not gonna size up based off these. I'm just not gonna do it, because even though, yes, it could go higher, the risk to reward is not gonna be worth it here. I like to size ups on the absolute bloodiest of days, right? I identify as a fucking shark, right? I'm only gonna size up when there's blood in the water. There's no blood in the water yet. Not enough for me to go on a feeding frenzy, let's say, right? So I want to see blood in the water. That's where you go on a feeding frenzy. Otherwise, it's what it is. I'll just let it go until the next meal comes along. So ETH against BTC still looks fine, right? Again, you know, you've had an insane move up. Things are slowing down. Ethereum went up 200 and something odd %, right, in like a couple of months. So ETH against BTC is natural to have a little cool off period. Right? We've already mentioned this. But they look fine. And of course, similarly speaking, ETH betas also the same. Although LDO, I would prefer it if this hadn't happened. At the end of the day, you're still above your actual seller zone. So as long as you're above that, again, you're just chopping. Depending on what kind of news we get, either this happens, in my opinion, or this happens. Arbitrum, another one I'd really want to talk about, because it's been a while, but it's done it. It's got above. Even if it was for a moment, it finally got above the exchange listing lows, right? Arbitrum is definitely something you should keep on your radar, guys, because once it reclaims this, and it will at some point, in my opinion, it will go and reclaim it. Arbitrum has a lot of room for upside, okay? A lot of room for upside. We're talking 157, we're talking 182, and then after that, you know, who knows, right? We'll have to draw up some fresh targets. But Arbitrum has a lot of room for upside should we reclaim those exchange listing lows. Right over there. Okay. So keep this one in your radar. There is a seller zone for you to manage your plays around. Hang on. There. That's a weekly seller zone. Right? If you want some key levels for this media area to go around, that it'd be just that seller zone right there. Very simple. Right. Swee's another one. Sui looks good. Honestly, Sui's so strong. I'm positioned for Sui. Like I'm fully positioned. I'm not going to be adding anything at these prices. I'm already fully positioned for this one, as much as I wanted to for the challenge account. Of course, my main account as well. Cetus. The reason I didn't, again, the reason the profits we took off ENA, right? The 3K we took off ENA. Like I said, 40% was put in at this particular area, and I put a bit less than 40% in actually. Like it was like 37 or something %. But I still have the rest, right? And I'm just gonna slowly desay that at this particular area now, right? The remaining of that, I'm just gonna add maybe in like 2 or 3 clips. I'm just gonna add that over here at the lows, because look, again, Cetus is a very low risk areas, right? I'm just gonna add some here if it drops more, add some more if it drops more, add some more. Realistically, I want to build a Cetus bag in this particular areas, right? So that's going to be a position on the house, because again, ENA more than doubled. We took half out, right? And of course, you've got all the other sweet plays as well. And I think it was Batman who was asking, but plays that's still viable. Again, Cetus is viable. Send, right? This one, if you guys remember, we were talking about this one. This one is still probably at the lowest risk entry in terms of risk management, right? Currently speaking, the diagonal is still there. Very low, what's the word I'm thinking of? Very low cap. So you wouldn't put much size into this, in my opinion, right? Especially if you're not working with a lot of size to begin with. You would not put much size into this at all. But this is still a project on the Sui, right? Send, Blue. And again, Send looks better than Blue. But both of these, remember, the framework for them haven't changed, right? Why do they look good? They look good because of this. I mean, we can just look at the general chart and figure it out. But also, these, right? You've got actual. There you go. You look to be getting a type 2 return right now, right? If you get a full type 2 return, you have a whole harmonic framework, right? You have the 886s, you have double harmonics for this type 2 for this big one, right? I mean, not even a type 2 because you haven't even hit the 382 yet, but that reconfirmation of support, and then the type 2 for the wave structure that was printed over here. In terms of harmonics, this looks absolutely insane. That's the whole reason I like it, right? Which is why, again, you don't need to leverage this. You don't need to be a hero. Just go spot. Just look at this and tell me you need leverage. You don't. You just need spot, right? Which is why I gave these out, because these, if you're wrong, you're not wrong by much. Here, look. If you want a hard stop loss because you want that peace of mind, you're just doing this, okay? It's so simple. Let's say 20% maximum. Yeah. Just put your stops below this, look. Because below this, obviously, you do not want to be holding, right? And yes, you might get wicked out if you put a hard stop, but who cares? If you get wicked out, just, go back in. Don't go all in if you put a hard stop, maybe, right? Wait for like a manual size up. Do a blend of 20, 40, 40 and just your traditional entry. But if you're right, even if you play conservatively, that's still a 4.3 an hour trade on spot, right? And realistically, if you're right and SWE really goes and you get that liquidity trickling down, this would be a piece of cake for a low cap. Just one whale buying can send it to these prices, right? So you're talking now, all of a sudden, you have a potential 215%. Pretty conservative for crypto, right? But you'll take it. 290%. Okay, now you're talking 618. You have a 473%, right? And if you ever get to these prices, and again, I wouldn't base my TPs based off this. This is how I look at the trade as a euphoric trade, right there. But even then, that is a pretty amazing return on your investment, right? 475%. And the key thing here is not that it's definitely going to go here. It's the fact that you are risking at max 20% for the chance to be in a play that can give you these. It's your risk to reward. It's not the fact you can go this high. It's the fact that if you are wrong, you're wrong by minimal risk to yourself, even in terms of percentage. And you can further mitigate that risk using methods such as 20, 40, 40, such as partial entries, manual size up, so on and so forth, right? So there's loads of plays, guys, like honestly, loads. AVAX looks good. Look at AVAX. That is vertical accumulation. Unless Powell fucks this up, AVAX is ready to send. AVAX is so ready to send. Unless Powell fucks it up. That is vertical accumulation on the daily. Okay? AVAX is so ready. After a while. It's been a while, but it's ready. Powell at the lows, to be honest. I might look to re-enter this one. ENA. No, the levels have shifted around. Need to move again. I'll do that when I get home, though. I can't be asked right now. Yeah, you hit those ABCD levels we were talking about. Macro standard deviation 1, you're below that. Can't be surprised if you get 59 cents, if you get 52 cents, so on and so forth. But who cares? We've already more than doubled our money, right? And we've taken profits. So this can do what it wants now. That moonbag is exactly what it is. It's a moonbag. I'm not touching it, right? Until it goes to new prices, I'm not touching the moonbag. Maybe I'll size up on it, right? But if you get like a nice enough flush back to those deep discount levels, like 45, if you get 45 cent TNA, I'll size up. But otherwise, I'm not touching this. If we've got a moonbag in profit, why would I care now, right? When my overall thesis, everything's going to go up. Altcoin, remember, still one of our major plays. I think Ton looks amazing. The fact of the matter is, sellers are not able to go and get control of this box here. Previous accumulation. Buyers keep defending it, right? If they keep defending it, eventually what that's going to tell us is the supply that keeps being put on the market to take the price of these to this lower box is just being bought up by the buyers, and eventually the supply is going to run out. The demand is going to be too high, and when the demand is greater than the supply, the price is going to go up, right? So Toncoin's another one. There's loads, right? I'm not sure what XMR is going to do here. But if XMR gives us a godly back down to 197, in my opinion, that is a bid. And I would personally probably size up on my swing on XMR if you get this. 618 to the 1.618, 786 basically, right? Getting a godly at what used to be a macro godly 618. That'd be insane. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Litecoin, I still think is going to do amazing. Litecoin is going to be a dyno that's going to do really, really well in my opinion. So perhaps you want to check out Litecoin against Bitcoin as well to build positions on maybe. But there's so much, guys. There's honestly a lot. What about Farcoin? Ooh. I mean, it's not the worst looking chart. One sec. 1.13, is that the hop? Yeah, I mean that's the hop. That's the hop of the bat. That's hit. Um, 1.61, it definitely not hit. I'd keep an eye on Farcoin. I feel like it could be potential bottoming areas here. Okay, bro, get out of here. And realistically, we only need this right now. Here. You go and reclaim the 93 to 86 zone into support, you long Farcoin back towards a $1 something, in my opinion. Yeah. Very simple. Keep it simple right now. Yeah, that's what I do. Just do it based on the weekly. That'll make your life easier. 86 cents to 93, and of course those two levels individually for lower time frame scalping. Currently you're below it, but if you can get above 86.256, 93 cents your first target, get above that, then you're back in this range, right? And you can target the mid and the high of that range. So very one to watch for potential scalping opportunities again for Farcoin. But there's a lot. There's a lot, guys. Arrow, that's another one, right? Link. Oh, the Arrow looks amazing. Honestly, it's gonna keep going in my opinion. Fed, ready to go some anytime soon. RV looks good. Link, of course, amazing. We've talked about that many times. Apu back at the lows. I'm red on Apu spot. I'm red on Send spot right now. But I don't care. It's spot for a reason. Like, look at these lows. You really think I care if I'm red over here? Well, no, I don't. I'm just not gonna look at it because if I'm red in here, I don't care. I'll stay in the red because I've got a thesis, and my thesis is these will reprice higher at some point, right? And the entire structure is lost on the chart. I'm just gonna hold these for my own personal portfolio anyway. Doge with the ETF, all of that coming in. I think Doge looks good. Doge is something we've been talking about for a long time though, so it shouldn't be like fresh entries for anyone. But there's still so much to go. But we'll do like a actual alt stream at some point as well. Don't worry about it. Aether, Rai was talking about this one a lot. If you can somehow get a visit back down to 4 cents, it's going to be a bid. Otherwise, you're looking for bids around 6 cents low. You might seem too late, but don't forget where you are in the market, okay? All you've had is one weekly God candle. It's by no means too late. Now you just look for analyze the price action around here. If sellers just cannot lose 0.61430, just treat that like a new floor and just take trades based off that. Okay, but the data for them is really, really good. Aether looks good, insane. And this has, if Sol goes, and I think Sol will go, this has opportunity to reprice a lot higher, right? But yeah, just some alts we went over today there. Yeah, Leica too. If you look at Doge, if you think Doge does well, Leica does well. Leica we looked at for a while now. What do I ape right before FOMC? That's funny. Yeah, there's so many coins. Right. What did I need to go over? I also needed, or rather wanted to go over this. Solar ETH going, right? So I've got a Solar ETH position open for my main account, right? However, um, even though I wanted to open one for the challenge account, I sadly couldn't do it because the only place I could find to do Solar ETH was Kraken, right? So I went to open a Kraken account to be able to do Solar ETH, and so they the way you trade pairs on Kraken is completely different to the way you do it on Prime XBT. With Prime XBT is very, very simple. You just enter the stats you want, and the exchange will automatically give you a leverage that even if you have a lower position size, you'll still be able to get what you want, right? With Sol against BDC, with Sol against ETH on Kraken, you have 3x max, so you have to put a lot of liquidity up front, right? And the challenge account we're working with right now is not big enough to be able to do that. It is big enough. That's if we liquidate other positions, we just rotate it only to against ETH, and that's not the purpose of the challenge account, right? Which is why I decided for the challenge account, if you guys want to take the call, take the call. I've got it in my main account, right? But for the challenge account, I've not entered the Sol against ETH. Even though I wanted to, it just doesn't make sense to liquidate so many other positions just to get into Sol against ETH, right? I'll just be shooting myself in the foot. But the actual call is still intact, right? The entry, the invalidation, so on and so forth, what I was describing in the streams before, and what I mentioned in the actual ping, those are all fine, right? So I'll still update these calls like I would for the challenge account, basically. But yeah, Sol against ETH is still a really, really good pair to watch. Sol on it, so it's gonna go. Sol's gonna break all time at some point. Look, insane strength, right? Really, really nice strength on Sol. Where's it gone? Yeah. Two 260, 215. As long as that is support, you go to 260, 260 for all time high, and then yeah, just rinse it to the upside. Literally just buy sellers zones to your best friend on this one. Mix them with key inflection areas. You honestly don't need much else. Huge compression on this before the move up. I don't know why all of this keeps happening, but it is what it is. And if you think Sol does well, then of course you've got Sol betas as well. You've got Jupiter, you've got Aether, you've got Farcoin, anything in Solana, right? Anything on the Sol. Look at what's doing well, what's pulling in money. Just trade those. Seapool, let's not forget about Seapool. I still think Seapool does fantastic. Top, mid, low, your key levels, right? If you're solely in spot, it's going to be easier than if you're trying to do this on leverage. I'm doing a mix of both. Leverage is harder, of course, than spot. With spot, you just build an average bag at the areas you're interested in, and until your thesis is invalidated, you just hold, right? With leverage, of course, you can't do that because unless you're playing with minuscule position size, what's the point? If you're doing that, by the way, if your position size is actually decent, then of course you're going to get wiped if you have a significant drop against you, right? So I'm using a combination of just hedges and just careful positioning, basically. Just go try on leverage, but spot is where it's really at for many of these. But Seapool still looks fantastic. Like, just watch. This is going to reprice way, way higher at some point. Can't give you timings on these, but it's going to reprice way, way higher at some point. But yeah, that was a quick update. Let's see. .25 cut, yeah. Okay, initial pump, and then a dump me things, flash dump to resume to the upside. Was he like? Oh, let's look at some stocks. Let's look at Oracle actually. Hang on. Going into stocks. Insane, bro. Honestly, ridiculous. Mad. Right. So where did I do my tier on? It's not here. It must have been on This chart. Stocks. Oracle. Where did I do it? This one then. No, it can't be this one, can it? This one's... One sec. I will find it. This is log. Oh, it might be this one actually. One sec. Yeah, God knows. I don't know where all my drawings have gone. It's messing with me. Stocks. Oracle. Yeah, I have no idea where it's gone. Last hope. There we go. Okay. It's one problem with having many layouts. So what did we last look at this? 0.5 to the 2.0. We have nothing else. You are free to explore this. Log's probably going to be your best friend here, to be honest. Yeah, you've exceeded the 2.0. So if you ever have a pullback to this, that's going to be a significant level to actually flip. Otherwise, yeah, this looks ready to send, brother. Insane. What a move. Insane move, yeah. I mean, what do we even do now? On the 12 months, I'll be doing this. 0 to 1. There's your last low. Oh, bam. There you go. Nothing else much to it here. Liquidity rate, I don't think it's going to stop. I think liquidity rate will get hit at some point. 474 to 500 basically. Nice psychological number. $500 at some point is probably going to get tagged. I don't know when, but you got 369 first, psychological number. After that, basically 500. Very nice targets upcoming for Oracle for you. Yeah, I remember that very well, brother. It was It was 2.6 something. Yeah. It would have been. Yeah, it would have been that deep point right there. Yeah. So that's a completed wave structure. That's it. That's the thing with wave structures. People think, oh, that looks so funny. It's not going to happen, and then it happens, right? There's a psychology behind it. $25 BPS cut. Right. Neo, another one. Like I've been saying, boys, this is more than a 2x now officially. I'm milking these Chinese stocks. I'm telling you. That is 113% basically from where we were talking about this, right? Neo, I literally gave the lows on this one. So insane move up. Lemonade's up about 50% from when we talked about it. Don't really need to look at BA. In fact, let me go back to the normal one. One sec. Here, let's go to stocks. Oh, look at that, bro. Insane move on Chinese stocks. This is what I'm telling you. Chinese stocks are crazy. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coinkydink. Right. Yeah, 118% roundabout from when we entered this one. Unity, we're just not getting a pullback. They're up 25 BPS. What do you expect, right? Things are going to go wide. It's not 50 like we hope, but it's what it is. Hopefully that gap gets filled at some point. Estee Lauder, still hopeful on this one. Might take some time. Might be a very, very long cook, but a cook nonetheless. That's just an insane structure to me. LAC. It looks primed. I'm just saying. LAC looks primed also. EHang. This bad boy is. I can't buy this on my broker, sadly. I use Trading 212. I can't buy this EHang holdings on Trading 212. Hopefully they'll add it soon. But if you guys can buy EHang, just have a bit, right? Manage your own risk, have a bit. But look, here's the thing. Look at the chart. Charts don't lie. Charts for this is insanely bullish. It's really, really good. Not bullish in the sense it's already popped, bullish in the sense that it's got the structure that is built prior to big pops, right? I forgot who told me about RCATs, but I mean, it respected TA from when we last looked at it, but there's nothing I can do with this one, I'm afraid. I'm not going to look at it. United Health, 230 to 195 is always my target. You can see the alerts haven't gone off either. Very clear front run here. Nasty is what it is. Would have got into this if we got that raid. MKS, doesn't matter. Tesla, insane. What did I say? Above that B point, Tesla flies. Do not be surprised if you see Tesla at 560 to 600 and something, basically. Look, what did I say? Easy area to manage risk. Multiple times, right? You can see why you take the risks at these areas. That bad action magnetic move, even though it's not a bad, it's that sort of same general structure coming into play right here, right on Tesla. Send this up, honestly. There's a seller zone you're contending with on the monthly right now, but you get up with the mid of that. Tesla goes to this box and 658 ultimately, in my opinion. Insane move on Tesla. Rolls Royce probably going sideways here. I would be surprised if it wasn't. Still climbing up, insane. Probably the best stock buy I've ever done in my life here. Coinbase should be going, but it's not really yet. Hang on. No, wouldn't work. Could be megaphoning, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to call a megaphone like a noob. And it's out of the areas where I'd buy it anyway. There's not really much reason to be buying up here. Smack bang in the middle of the seller zone. BlackBerry, I know Chup was the one who mentioned this. Still a very, very good place to buy BlackBerry. Still a very, very, very good place to buy BlackBerry. Look where it is. Insane. Hood. Oh, what a move. What a move. I go back to look at charts sometimes I was making like, a year or two ago. Insane, man. Yeah, this is gone. Nothing you can do here. To the next one. Bull. Hopefully, Webull can do the same thing, right? Easy area to manage risk here on Webull. Rivian. This is going to be my next magnum opus, in my opinion. Because look at that structure. That does not lie. The structure does not lie. Above the 200-day moving average. EMA, sorry. I believe that's the EMA. You don't have enough data on the weekly, but on the daily you do. Above the 50, the 200 AMA, and the 200 MA. The 50 MA, the 200 MA, and the 200 EMA. Above all of those. 2, 3, and 4, right? Look, 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4 is 50. Sorry, the 50 SMA, the 200 SMA, and the 365, so the yearly SMA. I will also go ahead and turn on this one right over here, and this one is going to be the 200 EMA. Okay, so instead of simple moving average, we're going to do this moving average. The color is going to be yellow. Above everything, bro, insane. Rivian goes at some point. If it doesn't go here, I'm not wrong, the market's wrong. Okay, which is why I'm positioning into this. A huge chunk of the challenge account for the stock portfolio, which is currently sat about 8K, I'm going to put into Rivian, rotate into Rivian. Profits from Neo, profits from Lemonade, so on and so forth, right? A few other stock plays that I took. Tesla, I'm going to put into Rivian because I want to consolidate for stocks. I want to consolidate into one big size play. So Rivian being the next one in my opinion. But I also do like a look at BlackBerry. Rivian looks better in my opinion, but BlackBerry is sat at a very, very nice area on the higher time frame, which makes me think it could be a really nice long-term cook. But in terms of like the actual the averages, right? You can see Rivian is sat way better in terms of averages. Compare the two there. Rivian is sat way, way better, especially on the daily. Rivian is sat better. Rivian is like killed up on every single metric, right? This is still struggling a bit, so it could be a bit more chop. But still, that doesn't mean this looks bad. BlackBerry also looks good. So Rivian and BlackBerry, two you can very easily manage your risk on, basically, is the point I'm trying to make here. For a long, higher time frame cook, this is not crypto, okay? This is a higher time frame cook. If you're wanting daily profits, don't even think about trading these, okay? This is you're trying to get the bulk of the move here. Remember, this is a buy and hold thing. But yeah, there's some stocks. CLSK, ClearSpark. I remember ClearSpark. I think I gave a call on that one a while back. CLSK. Wait, I give this was the one from AR, the insane move one. Yeah, it was ClearSpark. Thought so. This was such a cook, bro. One of the nastiest plays I've given in terms of a stock play. This was insane. I think it was Carthian. I forgot who took it, but they were really thankful for this one. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on these again, bro. You're right. That looks very, very interesting. Back down after insane move up, recompression, potential smiley face. I need to do some more tea on it. I'll do it some other day because I'm about to fall asleep. But I'll definitely keep an eye on CLSK especially. But yeah, anyways, nice. Hey, at least we got 25 cards. Was he? Did he mention what the plan is going to be for? Like, did he mention anything about like potential future cards potentially going to 0.5, or did he just say 25 cards, expeditious moves, so on and so forth? I can't be asked to listen to him. You guys can just fill me up in crypto chat with a ping if anyone can be bothered. Or just watch it in the morning. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad I got to do this today because it's been a while since. Okay, summary of the Fed decision. Fed cost raised by 25 BPS in first rate for 2025. Median projection shows 50 BPS in additional rate cuts for 2025. Governor Marin dissents in favor of 50 BPS cut today. Fed says downside risk to employment have risen. 6 Fed officials see no more rate cuts in 2025. 9 Fed officials see 2 additional rate cuts in 2025. The Fed is shifting the focus to the labor market. Nice, okay. Yeah, bro. Crypto loves news like this. Low liquid shit coins pumping back and forth. What you want to do is you want to go to Bitcoin, and let's go to Bitcoin, or in fact, no, on Bitcoin. Let's go to Doge. Let's go to something random. Let's go to Doge on Binance, and then let's go get it on ticks, bro. How about this? Actually, let's do 1,000 ticks, or let's lag the hell out. Yeah, you're completely right. Jesus Christ. Insane. But yeah, no, good start, eh? 25. I do think the 25 BPS. I think it's gonna be a nothing burger to begin with. Quick pump, quick dump. But ultimately, this sets the stage at least to get the ball rolling, right? Honestly, I still hope that we just keep rallying to the upside with minimal downturns, and even if we get downturns, very quick flash dumps, and we just keep rallying till December, January next year. That's honestly what I pray for. Just keep the bears sidelined. Keep them posting the various theses, their charts saying I'm gonna short this if it gets here, and why price can't possibly go any higher. Their magic crystal ball predictions, while none of them actually make any money. You just sit there printing while holding. That'd be honestly amazing. But right, that's going to be it for me today, guys. I'm going to put this on YouTube because my YouTube's been dead, and I don't want to keep it dead till January. So I'll put this one up on YouTube, and I will also whenever I get time next, again, I'll let you guys know ahead of time. We'll get another stream done at some point. Yeah. Again, for those of you. I mean, like I said, everyone has access to the core and advanced folders, depending on what you went for, of course. So sometime mid-October is when we do the consolidation sessions, right? Any questions, any confusions anyone has, we'll get that sorted then too. So that's that as well. And for those of you who are only doing core, remember, make the most of the time in the server because. Like I said, originally this server was only for people who did core in advance. So once the consolidation sessions are done, for those that are only doing core, I'll be giving you the boot, so to say. Right? Don't take it personally. Just keeping it fair for the actual purpose of why I created the server for in the first place. But until then, until basically we do the consolidations mid-October, you guys are here just like everyone else. So make the most of it. And then after that. After we get the consolidation done, everything will be back to normal again. Yeah, I'm going to drastically reduce the number of one-on-ones I take from next year. I've already told people that, but very few. I'll be sticking with group sessions for whenever I do get sessions done. Just focus more on my business side of things and just trading on my own. But yeah, no problem. Have a good time in Iceland, bro. Send some videos in, man. I create a separate section in the Discord for travels and food and stuff. Yeah, no problem, guys. Okay, that's gonna be it from me today, guys. It was lovely talking to you all. Stay safe, stay vigilant, but also, hopefully everyone's excited, right? I loved Iceland when I was there. It was amazing, man. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I'll let you guys know at a time again whenever I'm free to do the next one. I'm still not fully used to the timing here. But yeah. And if you guys need me for anything, just ping me in crypto chat. Obviously, you guys know where to find me. But I'm gonna go and put this on YouTube, and I'm gonna call it a night there. Alright, guys. Let me stop recording, and I'll speak to you guys soon.